Hello world. Kia ora. How are we today? Share this live. Just want to come and I suppose just have a ramble. A ramble about a thing. If you're joining me, say hello. We'd love to know that you were here, whether it's live or on the replay. My name is Madeline Lee. I'm from Ride Your Stigma. I'm an intuitive healer, mindset mentor, expressive dance coach, herpes advocate or support person. I've been coming live doing lots of card pulls and intuitive readings and intuitive guidance lately, but I haven't really come on to just, I suppose, ramble and rant about things that are going on inside my mind for me at the moment. So what did I name it? It's interesting because sometimes when I come live, I just want to ramble, I just want to rant, and I just want to keep talking, and I just want to share all of these things. And for me, it's natural, and for a lot of other people, it's like very jumpy, and there's so many conversations, and we just flow through all the things. And then sometimes I like to write down like a title or a caption to hone into, if that makes sense. And today this one was screaming really loud because it's come up in my personal life a lot lately. Live in a caged box or live in an entirety of your own creation. What way do you choose to live your life? So I wanted to talk into a lot of I suppose a lot about how we live in caged society. Not all of us, so of course we can create it and we can choose it, but what's been coming up for me a lot in my personal life and in my work and everything, it's like the way that we live is our choice. And it's like, what way do you want to choose to live your life? And we've been programmed and conditioned for so freaking long to listen to what people say, to be a good boy or a good girl, or live a certain way because we should do it like this. Well, who says? Because the big man at the front said we should live like that, or we should live like this, and that we should follow the rules, and because someone told us to, so we'll do it that way, and we'll live in this little caged box. And the way that someone tells us, Kia ora Phil, lovely to have you here, how are you? And I've been realizing this, I suppose, and why I wanted to come and rant and ramble about it is to, I suppose, anyone that is here on the replay or live that is here to hear this and be triggered in a expansion way, to start questioning, to start opening our mind and our opportunistic choices and way of life, and really start to ask ourselves, because it's interesting, before my spiritual journey and my self-development journey, maybe I just wasn't conscious to it. Maybe I wasn't aware of it, and people did try and tell me, but I felt like, from my perception and my experience back then, when I was in my unconscious parts of myself and versions of myself, I never heard anyone tell me to look wider, to look deeper, to ask questions, to open my mind and realize that just because we're told to get a 9-to-5 job, just because we're told that we should just always go to the doctor and just go to the doctor will have the answers, or we are to, you can't do this, a really limiting fucking way of life, a way of mindset, energy, emotion. And I've been having it, it's interesting, I'm going through like a different, unique expansional growth at the moment. It's not extreme like it used to be, if that makes sense, but what I'm going through at the moment is like old little bits of, it's almost like old little crispy bits of old versions of myself are kind of shredding through into my decisions and causing me to have anxiety and things lately. I was talking to my mentor and another friend, and they were like, Maddie, is this even you or not? Or is this old versions of myself? And because I have just gone for a couple of interviews for some little part-time jobs alongside my business for various different reasons, And I mentioned, I was like, oh, I don't want to overwork myself and work myself into the ground. Oh my God. But last time I did that, so am I still going to be able to play full out in my business and do everything in my business and manage this? Could I work full time and manage my business and grow it at the moment and my personal life and all these other things, and then go and get a car, because I'm carless at the moment and it's feeling like it's holding me back, but I know that I'm not I'm meant to not have a vehicle at the moment. There's lessons in it, and it's interesting because when someone kind of offers, they're like, oh, you could borrow my car, or I've seen a cheap car, but I'm like, no. Like, my energy's like, nope, you're not meant to have a car right now. Like, nope. But coming back to, like, do you choose to live like in a caged mentality of life? Which I'm not here, I suppose I want to share that I'm not here to shame you if you choose to live that way. It's not a thing about, and I think I want to make that really, really clear as well, is that I'm just speaking what in my experiences, that I look around our world and our mainstream society, and we are very limited in my perception or my experience or my understanding. And it doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It just means what I'm seeing in the world at the moment is like, I'll say something and someone will be like, oh, well, you can't do that. That's inappropriate. Who said? Who said? Because some big man with some authority just decided that that's not appropriate. It's almost like talking on social media about sex, STIs, mental health, really deep personal trauma, your shadow, swearing, all of that stuff. Who fucking decided that that was inappropriate, or that was something private that you should keep private? I nearly said some motherfucker. Someone one day just decided that they thought it was inappropriate or not. Like, there's a lot of different people in the world and we all have a different perception, but I also just want to shine light on, like, I remember last year doing a reel about free the nip and certain things like that. And like, some people will still perceive, and that's okay if they perceive it and that's what they believe. But to me, that's programming. Someone's programmed you, conditioned you, and told you that that's inappropriate. I seen a TikTok the other day, and some girl wearing a G-string bikini, and she was swimming, but it was like in a family swim park. I don't know, far overseas somewhere where they have big swim parks and like pools and stuff like that. And some lady had said, who thinks this is really, really inappropriate in the kids' pool? And I commented, I was like, well, every child there has a bum. Every adult there has a bum. Every human has a fucking bum, and we were all born naked. And I'm like, so how is that inappropriate? I'm like, I don't, because someone's told you it's inappropriate, because you've sexualized it in some way or form. And it's like, it's coming into, I'm just gonna, ban this person, because they have not been great. But it is. So what we're talking about, sorry, I just needed to block that person because I don't think their intentions are very serving, so I just needed to get them out of my way so that they weren't disrupting us. But we've learned and taken on all this programming and conditioning of like being told what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what we can and cannot do, what we should and shouldn't do. Well, you should do it like this, or you shouldn't do it like this. Well, yeah, we all have an opinion, and I love everyone having their own opinions, and sometimes it's great for me to hear other people's opinions so that it can widen my spectrum and understanding, and so I welcome that. But what I've been seeing in myself and my personal life, like with anxiety coming up around these couple of little jobs, these little part-time jobs that I've been applying for and stuff, and I've gone, oh, but can I manage it? Because it's so, I don't know, and then I've decided I don't really like the mainstream right now. Like, maybe that sounds a bit hard, but I don't like the mainstream world. I really don't. I don't want to be in the city, and the generalized majority of, I suppose, society, like mainstream society, and this isn't a judgment thing, this is just a preference thing. I don't like having conversations with people that are in the mainstream society. I don't enjoy it. It's fine. Sometimes I do, and I compromise because I have people in my life that are conscious, unconscious, in between, a bit of both. Or and I love people for who they exactly are, and I accept that. But it doesn't mean that I enjoy it, if that makes sense. And I'm finding that these part-time jobs that I'm going for, I'm like, oh, cool, it's just stepping back into, you should look like this, and you should perfect like this, and if you work like this, you better be like this, and be polite like this, and this is appropriate, and this is not appropriate, so you better fit in this little cage, in this little box over here, and I'm going, oh my fucking gosh, I'm like, I really don't live like that anymore. Like, when I was at my herpes support group last night, and we were at this chocolate place having a beautiful dessert. We're just having free flow conversations, and we were talking about people being wronged and people being told that they can't do something. And when someone tells me, Maddie, you can't do that, fuck, the rebel in me just lights on fire, and I'm like, you want to tell me that I can't do that? And then this fiery thing inside me lights up. It's not even about doing the thing that they've told me that I can't do. It's about being, in a sense, energetically controlled, or being undermined and being told by someone you can't do that, or you can do that. So a sense of control. It's an energetic control because someone's telling you you can or can't. Which, to me, that isn't the way of life. It really isn't, and I wish I had learned this earlier, and I suppose I'm grateful that I've learned it now, and this is why I wanted to share today about, can you, I suppose, or if you are here and you feel pulled to it, can you ask yourself, where are you living in a motherfucking cage in your life, and where are you creating the entirety of your own creation, of your own reality, of your own lifestyle, of your own choices, your own authenticity, your own perception, your own way of being, and you create the rules. For a long time now, for the last few years, I've listened and follow and work with so many different entrepreneurs, healers, mentors, and all of these fantastic people, and you can hear so many messages and bits and pieces out in the world, different bits of advice, and people do different things different ways, and often I've heard people say go into your own business and create your own motherfucking rules, because you make all the rules, and you get to make all the rules and call all the shots. You get to choose your hours. You get to choose the way you do your business. You make the motherfucking rules. And I've always heard it. And of course it's always landed. But it's just landed on a next level phase for me today. Because I've just realized so deeply that there is just everywhere I look in mainstream society. And if you're not too sure and you're listening on the replay or live what I mean by mainstream society, please ask me about it, because I haven't figured out any other words to kind of describe it. So I always refer to it as mainstream societal conditioning. And it's the same, it's now I look at it and I almost feel crazy saying it, but at the same time I'm it's so true. It's like robotic conditioning, that we are born, and we are to go to kindergarten, and then we are to go to school, and we are to get a career and a job and buy a house, and then where did this accent come from? And then we are to have kids, and then we're going to get reassurance because we've had kids and we've done the right thing. We've bought a house, we got a good job, we got the money, we had the kids. Oh la 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 la, we did everything we were meant to do. This is what we were told to do. So we lined up and we did all the things. And I'm like, oh, was any of that what any of those people actually wanted? I watched Teal Swan the other day, if you guys know Teal Swan. Fuck me, it landed. It was super confronting. I was like, fuck, if I was a parent and if I had a baby, fuck, that would hit me hard. The trigger in her, I think it was a reel I watched of Teal Swan, and she asked in one of her big shows where she presents live, and there's hundreds of people in the room, and she asked something, don't quote me on it, but something to this effect, or this is how I took it. She asked all the parents in the room that have children or babies or have adult kids, what were your real intentions for why did you have children? Actually, why did you have children? And I was like, what is she meaning? What is she getting at? What is the lesson here? And then it went on and on and on, and I watched it and I was like, holy shit. And it is all for us. It is not for the baby. And like, generally, not all the time, you know, everyone has different reasons and different wants, but often we have children, like, if you really stop and ask yourself, why did I have this baby? To prove our worth, to prove that we could look after the baby for our happiness, to fulfill a hole in us, to make us feel loved, to feel important. Yes, of course, to care for the child and give them life and things like that. But then I suppose with the world changing as well, I could get on a big rant with it, but the world changing as well, at the moment, I'm like, fuck. Who the fuck would want to bring a baby into our world right now? And then I'm like, of course, yeah, there is parts of like passed down generational, and then you could go into the healer stuff. And again, it's not shaming anyone, but it's really asking. I've gone on a real big tangent there, but it's really asking, like, why did we want to bring this child into the world, or these babies, or these children? Why at our core? Was it because there's a lot of circumstances or situations where I look and I'm like, this person doesn't really want a baby to bring the baby into the world. Like, it's a hole because there's pain, because there's healing, because there's a gap to be filled. And what? The baby's going to fix you? It's not. Like, of course, it will help and it will lighten your world and give you so many different lessons and different love and different connection and maybe a different perception on the world. But we still got to do the internal work within ourselves, if that makes sense. So this was led on, wasn't it, from like societal conditioning of like kindergarten, school, work, then career, then we'll buy a house and we'll have kids. So it's all in, to me now, I'm like, that's just a little cake. Like, can every single person on the earth want the same thing? Like, can everyone? No, but it's like a conditioning that all I am feeling at the moment is the conditioning of this is what we should do, this is what we shouldn't do. And that might just be my perception and my feeling through my experiences and what I'm going through at the moment. But it's almost like also opening our mind to more opportunistic, because I have had it's interesting, I have a very open mind, but in the last like month, my mentor has asked me a couple of questions, and that's why you pay for a long-term mentor, guys, because there's been a few times where I've had a really, really closed, really kind of negative mindset or view or perception on my situation and my choices and what's going on in my life and my changes. And then she's come back and she said, well, Maddie, does that have to be negative? Because I flipped to the negative straight away. Like, even with getting this part-time job thing, alongside my business, straight away I was like, oh, well then I'm going to have less time and I can't be full in on my business. Like, really closed-minded. I was really in a cage. I was really conditioned in the way that, like, my emotions came up initially in it. And then when my mentor asked me, she's like, Maddie, what's going on? Is this even you? Because she knows me well enough now that she knows that is not the normal Maddie. That is Maddie. That is not the normal Maddie approach. That is not what comes out of me naturally. Naturally, what comes out of me is opportunistic, and what can I learn from this, and what is this guiding me to learn and opening for me. And then I flipped into realizing that these are old bits of crusty conditioning from past versions of myself, if that makes sense. I'm just going to open this because it's flying. That it's, oh, now the sun's really shining. It's that these little bits are like parts of different shadows and versions of my old self that are coming back. So maybe I'm healing them. Maybe I'm healing them to a next level. Maybe I'm moving through them. Maybe I'm wading through them. Maybe I've got to feel them again. Maybe it's not like shunt them or push them away. I go, oh, fuck me. This is like all parts of myself that used to be so fucking conditioned. And I think about back when I was nursing, when I'm told, like, this is wrong, this is the right way, we can only do it this way, closed-minded as fuck, like, this is the way it's done, Maddie, and this is where I think some of my perfectionism and stuff comes from, and we definitely get it through our childhood and our upbringing, and this is not shaming any parent or any caregiver in any sort of way, but it's an human experience that every single one of us has parents of some form shape or form, whether they're there or not there, or whatever the story is of your upbringing, we still are exposed to human experiences growing up in our childhood, which condition us and program us in a certain way of that family system. And then we take them into adulthood, and then we follow on to that, and that's how like generational it like passes down, and then it oozes into us because we are all one. But a lot of it, like the mainstream society of it, is so motherfucking caged. Like, it's just so like, well, you can only do this and you need to rely on this and you should do it like this and do it like that. Like, who says? Because some man said, because someone decided. Like, can you open your mind, if you are watching this today, or if you're watching it on the replay at any time that you come across it, can you ask yourself, do you feel caged? Do you really want what you are doing? Do you really want what you are being? Do you really want who you are right now? Or is it not even you? Is it time to almost, it's like create your own entirety? Like, can you create who you really are and remember? It's like that remembrance or awakens of who you really are in your heart, if that makes sense, and come into that, because everywhere I'm kind of looking, and I think that's why I'm shifting and changing and moving through, I suppose, a space of like loneliness, even though I have so many tribe people and so many soul people and so many friends, and I have a great family, and I have all of these amazing relationships, but I'm going through this new like shift of like of moving, and it's like everywhere I look, it's a really caged mindset, or it's a really, oh yes, but you're not allowed to do that, or that's wrong, or you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, you should, like, it's just all boggy and limited, and I just feel like throwing it over my head away, and really coming into what, because one person perceived that was wrong, or because the handful of people over here said that's not aligned for them, that's not aligned for them then. But it's about you. It's about your journey. What feels good to you? What feels alive for you? What is right for you in your truth, in your heart, in your soul, in your being? Or are you taking on everyone else's should nots and all the conditioning? Like, you have a choice, and it can be scary. I want to say that too. Like, what's coming through now is like, it's scary though, Maddie. Like, it's scary. What, you want me to step out and be who I am? You want me to challenge all the things of the mainstream society that the majority of people do and say and follow and continue to just go along the little chain? You want me to challenge that in a sense of being who I am, and who I am is not what fits into that caged box? And I'm like, well, fuck yeah. Like, it is scary, but is it worth the fear of stepping into that? Because I think it is. Like, there's a lot of different things, I suppose, that I'm learning and moving through and shifted through, even in the last 2 years, and sharing about in general. And even the last 6 months, I knew that my business and who I am and my purpose and my passion and my heart and who I am in my personal life was going to take a fucking full-on like twist and turn, because I could feel my whole energetics, my emotions, my soul, my heart, everything fucking changing, and I'm just not aligned with people I used to be now. And that's scary, because that's letting go, that's change, that's losing relationships to find new relationships, or parting with them. Even when I said losing relationships, I was like, it's not losing relationships, it's parting with them. It's parting with relationships into new relationships with yourself and with others and with nature and with passion and with soul and with all of the things. And yeah, it's scary. So I want to say it is scary, but do you either want to like feel a little bit of fear and jump into it, and then feel the height, feel the beauty, feel the love, feel the passion, feel the heart and soul freedom from being who you really want to be, who you really are underneath, who you really are in your soul? Or do you want to just stay in this caged box? where people tell you, yes, well, you should do this now, and then you should work for, and even money mindset stuff, you should work for someone else, and then you can just do the work for them, and then you get paid minimum wage, and then you come home, and then you're fucking exhausted, so you eat some shit food, and then you wake up, and then you work, 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 and then all of a sudden you're 80 years old, and then you're like, oh, I'm dying now. What did I do the whole time? I worked my fucking ass off. And I listened to everyone that I should be in this job, I should go to school, and then every single day I felt depressed, and I felt not enough, and I felt frustrated with the people I work with, but I was told to stay in this little cage, in this little box, and that's how I should live life, because that's appropriate. Are you really going to be satisfied with that? Are you satisfied with that? If you can think about when you're 80 years old, I don't think I have any 80-year-old followers, but if you can think forward to when you're 80 years old, and if you are satisfied with that, keep going, keep living in that cage. But I suppose today, that's why I want to share about this, because the people that are meant to hear this, and that it is meant to spring on and share and shine sun into today. It's yeah, it is fearful, it is uncomfortable, it does make us nervous, and we feel unsure and the unknown. But at the same time, there is fucking beauty in it. There is gold, there is nectar in it. There is so much in it, and it's fucking worth it. It is not easy. There is lows and highs and darks and all the chaoticness in the creation of it, because that is us. We are human, we are dark and light, and all of the things in between. And there is challenges, and there is lows where we want to give up, and there is other parts where we've got anxiety. I've just been through 2 weeks of random fucking anxiety, and it's fucking weird. And I don't know why it's here, but I do know why it's here. It's little crusty bits of different versions of my past selves that are wanting to come up because they've got lessons in them, and realizing that they're not actually mine, that these are conditioned, programmed bits that I've taken from my schooling, from my childhood, from my nursing, from all different parts of my life that I've lived so far in this lifetime. And I've taken all these little bits on, and they are what have created, I suppose, these bits of fear of judgment, of people judging me or not liking me or judging myself, or typical really common things even body image stuff. It's so interesting that I have never really had a big issue with body image or anything. It's been something that for me, body image, I've been quite comfortable in my body, and then lately I've been looking at myself going, it must have been someone else's energy that I put on. Oh, but I wonder if I'm not wearing that, and I don't look like that person. And I was judging myself internally. I wasn't saying these things out or anything, but when I was catching myself, I was like, what the fuck, Maddie? Where has this come from? And then I realized that there is a lot of people around me that care, or that are really concerned or really feeling the energy of, they're really worried about what they physically look like. That I'm too fat, I'm too this, or my stretch marks, or my partner doesn't like me, and this and that and the other. And then these insecurities build because of the conditioning of us as humans judging each other for how our appearance should or should not look. Magazines, social media, Instagram, the same kind of conditioning. And of course there's good too. I want to say there's good, because I love social media. This is where I've started to build my freaking empire, and there's so much deliciousness as well on these platforms as well. But you also have to intentionally go to your algorithm and unfollow the people that are not serving you. Unfollow the things. Don't watch the things. Don't comment and like on the things that you don't like, so that it can bring, and then go and follow and friend other people that inspire you, things that light you up, nature, this, that, natural, authentic beauty, people that are vulnerable and sharing and out there. And I think of TikTok straight away, because I've been trying to get on TikTok a little bit more with business stuff and try and figure it out and learn it, but I don't like the thing, if that makes sense. And going on there, and I'm like, oh my god, all these filters and all these things, and then all these young girls that are looking so prim and proper and perfect. But then it must be my algorithm that's already started, because other people send me TikToks that are all about mindset and emotions and spirituality and all these things. I'm like, why is my algorithm like this? But I've started to flip past them really quickly and then follow some other different types of people, so that my algorithm changes, so that I'm not seeing just almost like photoshopped things and stuff like that over time. But I'm going really, really on a ramble now. But it comes back to living in a caged box of a life. Like, where in your life do you feel caged, and why? And is it even yours? That's what I want to come back to. Like, is it even yours? The caged things of like, should not. Is this appropriate? That's not appropriate. Is that appropriate? La, 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 la. All the bullshit. Is it yours or is it someone else's? And pretty much every time, because we take on everyone else's things and all our beliefs and our experiences, we are created from taking on everyone else's beliefs and experiences and knowledge and all that things, and we share it and it merges and we are all one. And it's the same even when our souls come and we remember certain past life things and different conditionings and experiences and deaths and all these things. So of course at the same time now I'm getting this like message of, well, of course, Maddie, because we learn everything from each other until we can come back. And if we find that part as well that makes us up, one of those parts that makes us up from all those different bits and pieces, and when we choose what is soul aligned for us, what is heart aligned for us, then also coming back to our truth in our heart, coming back to our truth in our heart, and really, really checking if, is this thing what I like? Does this feel right for me? Does this feel aligned for me? Or is it someone else's choice, perception, conditioning, programming that's been put on me or told to me? Has someone told me that I must do this, or I mustn't do this, or it's appropriate or it's not appropriate, or this is wrong or this is right? I'm really, really triggered by that. I had a situation with someone in my life this week, and they told me that it was just something small with cooking, and they told me that I was doing it wrong, and I really triggered. I was like, I'm not doing it wrong. Because I was like, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just doing it different to you. I was cooking some food. Okay, it was about food. And it's the same kind of thing, but it wasn't about the food. It was about the wording of being wronged because I cut some food differently or I cook some food differently. I am not wrong because I cut or cook food differently to someone else. We all have our own language of the way we do things because of the experiences and things like that. But it wasn't about the food. It was about being wronged, because when we're wronged, then that leads to feeling not good enough and leads to self-worth issues, anxiety, downward spiraling, depression, feeling trapped and not wanting to do anything, even feeling scared to even speak up or have a voice. Often if we are wronged by anyone, and I'm thinking, is there any time that I would agree with like saying that someone is wrong? And I'm like, maybe 2 times. I'm like, 1, I feel like someone is wrong if they're wronging someone. That is my opinion. You're only wrong if you're wronging someone for being wrong. And then the second thing I would say is, you're only wrong if it's a situation where you are bullying someone or telling them they have to be a certain way when they're not, or like in a sense of control. I think that is wrong. But apart from that, I'm like, what is the use in the word wrong, or the energy or the mentality or the message behind saying that you are wrong? Because even if it's like beliefs or perception or healing or understanding or business or healthcare or well-being or anything like that, it's not that it's wrong. It's just not right for you. It's not aligned for you. But for someone else, it may be right for them, and that's okay. That's their journey. It's like me and I suppose like my intuitive healing and natural healing, and the way that I approach medical healing now, like Western medical healing. For me, number 1 is natural healing and intuitive healing. For me, that's what's right for me. Not for everyone. Other people will go, oh, that's a load of bullshit. And that's okay, because it's just not for them. I'm not telling them they're wrong, because they're not. For them, that's right for them. But for me, this is right for me. Doesn't mean either of us are wrong. Wow, that was powerful. So you are not wrong. You are not wrong. And then I'm like, you're not wrong unless you're trying to control someone to think what you think. So, I hope some of that has landed for you today. And there are some messages in there. Just before I jump off, I just want to let you know about my free 4-day course, 25th to the 28th of October. So I think that's next week. The link is not on the thing. If you would like to join us, just comment magic in the comments or private message me, and I will send you the link to my private group and I will register you. Completely free. We've got 4 days, so there is discovery, mindset, expression, and commitment. Completely free, no tie-ons. Literally just wanted to give back and do one of my free courses. So come and join us if you'd like to come. And I suppose have a little taster, kick yourself in the bum a little bit, do a little bit of self-development. It's probably going to be about 30 minutes of lives a day for the 4 days, and then there will be a PDF opportunity task as well that I will put in the group. Otherwise, I have a special mini psychic reading sale at the moment. It is my birthday on the 22nd. I just look at the clock, the calendar. It's the 20th today. So it's my birthday on the 22nd of October, so I've decided to do a little mini sales special for psychic readings. So it is a 3-card spread, $17, valued at $37. So $17 as a birthday gift from me to you. You get 3 cards, you get a photo of your spread, and you get a 5 to 7 minute audio. And from the time you purchase, I will have it to you via email within 48 hours. So the link to that is in the comments as well, and the description. I love you all dearly. Any thoughts, landing, I suppose, messages or facts or quotes or words or energy, anything that landed with you today, or if you're catching the replay, check it in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I love you all dearly, and thank you so much for joining me today. Have a beautiful afternoon.